Hello, and thanks for stopping by. Today we'll be discussing how to get the weather widget in AwesomeWM. Now I did a video on this before. In fact, it was my first ever video on this channel, in which I showed you how to get the weather working with WTTR.in. But today I'll be showing you how to get the weather working from OpenWeather and their API, because I have found it to be highly customizable with a lot more information. And so what you see at the top left corner is my weather widget. It shows the icon, and it shows the degrees, and it shows that it's in Fahrenheit. And if I hover over it, you'll see a tooltip that says it is heavy intensity rain. So when you hover over it, it gives you more of a description on what the weather is like. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go into your .config/awesome and create a weather.py file. Once you've created that, you'll want to import urllib.request and import JSON. Next, you'll put in your latitude and your longitude. And if you need help finding that, there'll be a link in the description for that. You'll also want to put in your key, because you need this in order for the API to work, which means that you have to create an account with OpenWeather and then get the API key from there. That will also be a link in the description. Next, we're going to set a variable, and we're going to call it data, and we're going to set it equal to urllib.request.url open. And in parentheses and double quotes, we're going to put in https://api.openweathermap.org/data/2.5/weather (LAT equals), and that's going to end your double quotes there. Then we're going to say plus LAT in capital letters, plus, and then in double quotes, and LON equals. We're going to end the double quotes, plus capital L, capital O, capital N, plus, then we're going to start another set of double quotes, and app ID equals. Then we're going to end that double quote, plus key, plus, and in double quotes, and units equals imperial, in the double quotes there. Close off that parentheses, and then dot read, and then parentheses, and then close the parentheses. This makes it so that way we can read the URL in your Python file. And we set the units to be imperial because we're in the US, or at least I'm in the US. If you're anywhere else, you'll want to change that to metric. Next, we'll set another variable, and we'll call this icon. One thing I would do before continuing is I would copy this link and paste it with your latitude, longitude, and key. I would paste that into my browser and look at all the contents of that URL, so that way you can see what we're about to do next. So next we'll set a variable, we'll call it icon, and we'll set it equal to json.loads, and in parentheses we'll put in data, because we're grabbing the data from our data variable, and in square brackets and double quotes we'll put in weather, because that's the name of the section, and then in square brackets we'll put in 0, because that's a subsection of weather, and then in another set of square brackets and double quotes, we'll put in icon, because we're wanting to grab the icon of the weather. Next, we'll set another variable, we'll call this one description, and we'll set it equal to json.loads, and in parentheses data, and in square brackets and double quotes, we'll put weather, and in square brackets, we'll put in 0, and this time, instead of icon, we're going to put this in square brackets and double quotes, description, because we want to get the description of the weather outside. And the last variable that we need is one called temperature. We'll want to set it equal to json.loads, and in parentheses, we'll put in data, and in square brackets and double quotes, this time we're going to put in main. And then in another set of square brackets and double quotes, we're going to put in temp. And this is because temp is in the main section of that URL. And this next section is going to get pretty long because I've got a bunch of if-else statements. So basically what I've got is if icon equals this right here, then it's going to print F, the icon, the temperature, and an integer, and then the degree sign F. We're going to break the next line and then use our description variable. And this is so that way we can show the description and the temperature in our tooltip. And you're going to want to do this for all the codes. And so I would pause the video and copy all this down if I were you. Or you can just go to my .files. But once you get through with all those else-if statements, then the last thing you'll want is an else statement that reads print F, and in double quotes, icon, int, parentheses, temperature, degrees F, \n, description. And I would put it exactly as I've got it. And that's so that way, in case we don't have an icon for the code, it'll let us know. And then we can go in and fix that. Speaking of codes, these are all the codes here. These are the codes for the icons. And I've commented these out so that way you can see what each of them are and what they're for. Now we go into our rc.lua file where it says WeBar. And if you need help figuring out where that is, you'll go to menu bar configuration, keyboard map indicator switcher, and then WeBar, and just stick this weather widget in here. We're going to set a variable myweather equals awful.widget.watch, and in parentheses, in curly brackets, we're going to put in double quotes bash, comma, double quotes -c, comma, double quotes /user/bin/python3, because we want to read a file that's in Python and we want it to grab where our Python is located. ~key /.config/awesome/weather.py, which is the location of our file. We're going to pipe that into awk, and in single quotes and curly brackets, we're going to put print $1, comma, $2. We're going to close all of that off and then put in a comma and put in 600, and 600 is our interval. That is the amount of seconds it takes before it refreshes, and in my case I set it for 10 minutes, which is the equivalent of 600 seconds. And we did the print because we don't want to grab the description. We only want the icon and the temperature. And for the tooltip, we set in a local variable. We set it to myweather_tooltip equals awful.tooltip, and in curly brackets we set objects equal to myweather, so it goes back to the myweather variable. Then we set a timer_function equals function, open parentheses, close parentheses, and then we did a return on io.popen. And in parentheses and double quotes, we put in the path to our Python and the path to our Python file. And after we close that off, we put in :read, and in parentheses and double quotes, we put an *a, and then we end that function, comma. Now we use io.popen because it won't let me use awful.spawn for some reason. And sometimes it likes to temporarily freeze the WeBar. So just be mindful of that if you come across that problem. But you shouldn't have any problems with that. Next, we're going to connect a signal to myweather. We're going to do this on button release. We're going to set a function, and we're going to set that function to awful.spawn, and we're going to spawn Firefox in a new tab, and we're going to set it to OpenWeather.com. So in other words, whenever you click on the widget, it'll take you to weather.com, and then you end that function, and then you end the parentheses. This is future me speaking. I forgot to tell you to go to s.mywebox:setup and stick in myweather as a variable. I stuck mine under left widgets, but you can stick it wherever you want to. But just stick it in s.mywebox:setup. And like I said, whether it's the left widgets, the middle widgets, or the right widgets, just stick it in one of those three. And that's how you get the weather widget using OpenWeather API. And with that, we have come full circle. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and I shall see you guys in the next video.